Omar's cool. He's a cool cat. Ask the right questions. It takes a certain individual to ask and, be an interviewer, because sometimes you can be fucking like boring and not like get what's real out. Yeah, he dug deep.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of The Passionate Few. Today we get to sit down and get an inside look into the mind and story of CEO and founder of LVFT Apparel, Randall Pich. And while there's tons of interviews with Randall, I assure you, none are quite like this one. But before we get into it, I want to encourage you guys to whatever plateaus, whatever limits, wherever you're at in life, whatever goals you're after or pursuing, I want to encourage you guys to take action, because stories like Randall's will show you that it is totally possible. And in that same spirit, I want to encourage you guys to check out the description below, because there we put together a one-on-one personal coaching program to take your life, your mindset, your business, your branding, and your story to the next level. So be sure to apply for that coaching program in the description below. And with no further ado, enjoy this powerful interview with Randall Pich. So thanks for being on the show today, Randall.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. It's an honor to have you on. So let's get right into it. A lot of people know LVFT Apparel. Obviously, it's a worldwide brand now. We see it everywhere. Where did this whole concept begin? Where did you grow up, and when did the idea come about?
So we want to backtrack a lot. So what I want people to know first is LVFT Apparel was never meant to be a clothing brand. The LVFT slogan, it all branched off from my personal training business. It was just a slogan. But because I had a lot of prior past experience in the clothing industry, it ended up being this way. All these things that I did throughout my life, playing in a band, silk screening, creating t-shirts prior, bodybuilding, competing, that led up to what became LVFT Apparel today. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those things you just try to dig your hands into every little thing, and it leads you to this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's how it was born. Now, I know growing up too, you came from Long Beach, correct?
Right.
What was your childhood like? What was your kind of situation growing up? You can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Long Beach is a pretty big city. It's in LA County, but it's probably just as big as LA. And when I say that, I'm talking about multicultural as well, and just in population. You got the suburbs, you got really like nice neighborhoods, and you got a lot of poverty as well.
Yeah.
I grew up on the east side of Long Beach, which is a pretty rough part. A lot of African Americans, Mexicans, Asians, mainly Cambodians. There's a little Cambodia town there now.
Because you're Cambodian, right?
Right. So, and I want people to know too as well that my parents came from Cambodia, and they fled the Khmer Rouge, the genocide.
Genocide, yeah.
And the second most populated place where Cambodians are now living is Long Beach.
Wow.
So this is how I ended up there. My mom came here, and I was born in the east side of Long Beach, and I grew up there on fucking welfare, Section 8, and just, fucking grew up with a lot of gang activity and stuff.
So were you involved in a lot of that gang activity? I know you were into skateboarding too. I mean, what were some of your interests coming up in that kind of environment?
Like I knew a lot of the gangbangers. Like I got banged on, but I just told them like, hey, I don't bang this and that. I got robbed, experienced all that whole thing, but I kept my passion with skateboarding. I fell in love with skateboarding.
Hell yeah, brother.
And
we relate on that one.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and Long Beach was that kind of city, where a lot of kids, we played outside. I don't know how the fuck what kids are doing nowadays, but I played outside. Summer days, I'm fucking outside as soon as the sun's up until the sun's down.
Yeah.
And I found skateboarding. Obviously, there's a lot of I'm talking like 12 to 15 years old, and there's a lot of kids out there that were gangbanging and skating at the same time,
Yeah.
But it just, where I went to school, my friends that I hung out at the time were not into that, so I just found my route and stuck to skateboarding and yeah.
Do you remember the first day you found skateboarding, or when you fell in love with it?
Shit, I don't remember. I remember it was a fucking, you know what a fishboard is? That old school fishboard?
Of course, yeah.
I think one of my neighbors, this Mexican cat, he had a little fishboard, but we're talking, we didn't even fucking stand on it. We were riding that, pushing that shit on our knees. I think I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then after that, I was just like, man, this shit's fucking dope. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And we didn't have the internet how we had it now where you can just like fucking
Watch
YouTube shit,
clips
you
all
know?
day, yeah.
I was just fucking knocking this kid's doors like, hey, let's go skateboard. And we just fucking borrow that shit, you know?
Yeah. Did you grow up skating Cherry Park at all?
Yeah, I fucking grew up right around there, you know?
Yeah.
I fucking skated Cherry Park almost every day during the summer.
Yeah, and a lot of pros
Yeah.
came up there. There's a big skate scene over there.
Yep.
And I know now they've evolved it too.
Yeah, fucking Tony Hawk, Chad, Tim, they fucking like donated a bunch of money to make that skate park a skate park
Yeah,
now
yeah.
officially by the city.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we used to get fucking tickets for skating there.
Yeah.
Cops used to fucking harass us.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but the skaters didn't give up, and sure enough, now it's fucking official skate park.
Yeah, no, it's amazing because I used to actually work for Rob at the Fantasy Factory.
Yeah.
And what Rob did with the Street League plazas and how many opened so many up, there's so many things. I caught a little bit of that, but I know the generation prior, they didn't get any of that, man. They
Nope.
skated pure streets, tickets from cops, harassed by them, so I know how it was.
Yeah.
Now, I got to ask, was it at that stage of finding skateboarding that was your first, like, foray or introduction into, like, perseverance and, like, hard work and resilience and stuff like that?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. When I started getting good, I started like obviously trying to get sponsored. We're doing a lot of filming, and I was getting pretty good. You know, I was getting flow from this old company, Split, and
Yeah, hell
yeah, it was like more of a surf, but
Yeah, I remember Billy Marks rode for them. Yeah.
I was like the younger kid though. I was in middle school, I think, but everything I did, I wanted it to be fucking perfect, you know. Even if I would land a trick too, if I would fucking like take tack a little bit after the end, like no, fuck it, we got to get this shit perfect.
Bolts,
you know?
yeah, I want to land bolts.
Yeah, and I would just practice non-fucking stop. I wanted to be the best. So I guess now you think about it, yeah, that fucking trait carried on to now.
Did you ever have that with any other sports prior, or skateboarding was the first thing that you really got like honed in on, focused?
Skateboarding, basketball I played a little bit, but I was like, dude, I'm not gonna be fucking tall.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I realized that. Fucking smart. I'm not gonna, you know,
Yeah.
can't fucking jump like these other guys. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fucking just stick
I
with
don't even know if
skateboarding.
there's any Cambodian players in the NBA.
No,
Might have been the first.
no. There's Asians, but no Cambodians. No.
Now I want to ask too, when it came to skateboarding, how many hours were you putting in a day?
Fuck, dude. As long as there's light outside, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll fucking skate. Even sometimes, if there's like a lit up area, I would go out there and just practice in the lot, just to perfect my flat ground.
Yeah. What do you think it taught you? What are the traits of resiliency or anything like that it taught you that you've carried over to business or brought over to other elements of life?
That if I could see something done and I didn't do, and I couldn't do it, I'd have to practice because I knew it was fucking possible. I seen that shit in a skate video. If this motherfucker can do it, and I can do that shit too, you know? I don't care if it's gonna be painful, you're gonna fucking fall, you're gonna eat shit, you're gonna, you know, I didn't break any bones, you know, fucking luckily, but
Thank God, yeah.
I knew I was gonna, you know, do some damage before I perfect that trick or whatever I was gonna try to complete.
Yeah.
But, you know, it taught me to, like, you know, don't fucking give up.
Yeah, persistence, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you transitioned, you said you skated until you were 15 or so?
Yeah, I skated until, well, that was like my prime, I'd
Hardcore,
say.
yeah.
And then after that, I started getting into other things and, you know, in life. But I still skate today whenever I have some time. Like I have like my rail and fun box over there in the corner,
Cool.
little kicker ramp.
Now, you said that you, like after skating, you kind of got into like fitness and stuff like that. Can you talk about like that transition and that focus?
Yeah. So in high school, I didn't skate much. I started playing drums a little more. I got into like music and shit.
Yeah.
And then I joined the band. And then during that period, I think it was my junior year to senior year, I got into weight training. You know, I didn't know shit about fitness yet. I just was like, okay, what the fuck is this? I was in drumline.
Yeah.
And I didn't play sports. So
Yeah.
I think in our academic curriculum, we had to take a physical activity
Right,
course.
yeah.
And either PE, fucking marching band, or weight training, whatever, or any sport.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let me see what weight training is.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then met this buff ass motherfucker named Larry Camacho.
Yeah.
This fool was buff as fuck, and I was like, man, I'm trying to be like that, you know?
Yeah.
Just as a kid, like a male,
Yeah,
you know,
strong.
like, I was
Yeah,
like, man, this motherfucker looks like an action figure. I'm trying to be like that. So I just became friends with him, and I was like, what? I say like 16, you know? At the time, I was like, hey, you know, how can I get that way?
Yeah.
And he, sure enough, he's the one that introduced me to competing, the bodybuilding world, all that, and then just really fell in love with working out and weightlifting, you know? And I didn't get into personal training yet until I got into college now. So I graduated high school, and then I was like, dude, I think I want to, you know, I'm interested in this. is there any fields where I can make some money or whatever, any jobs out there?
With fitness,
In fitness, and sure enough, obviously personal training. So I got certified and then got hired on at Bally Total Fitness corporate during most of my college years, and went on from there.
And then from that point, did you kind of were you like all in? Was your game plan to just be like an elite personal trainer, to just do it all the time, or you were just kind of taking it one step at a time, or what was your mindset at that time? What were your goals?
So, because there's a lot, obviously, that happened in high school and in college, like a fucking shitload of things. So if you want to narrow it down, like when I was personal training at the corporate Bally Total Fitness, I was making money, you know, not like crazy amounts of money, and not until I went private. Okay,
Gotcha.
So I built my clientele there, worked my ass off, and then went private, meaning I rented out a personal gym, a smaller gym, where I could have my own key, and then bring my clients in and train how I want to train, my business model, whatever.
Right.
And I pay rent, and that's it. Because Bally Total Fitness, whatever client I brought in, they got to
take a piece of the upside. Yeah.
So once I started going private, I started mastering my way of training and just being a savage at fucking sales as well, you know, because you gotta fucking, this is your business, you gotta hustle, you know?
Yeah.
And my strategies of boot camps, group training, I was leveraging my fucking time and my service, and literally was making a 6-figure income, not working too many hours, and I was still going to college and all this and that, so I was fucking chilling, dude, and I thought I was gonna do that for the rest of my life.
Were you getting like high-end clients at that stage to be able to leverage a 6-figure income, or what was your like business strategy at that time?
So at Bally Total Fitness, that's where I got most of my different demographic range of clients in the beginning.
Gotcha. So you kind of picked them up from there.
Yeah, and then when I went private, that kind of word of mouth, when I started marketing it more on Facebook at the time, it kind of snowballed into what I did prior with group training and stuff. But it wasn't the high-end clients that paid more money. It was the strategy of, okay, so at Bally Total Fitness, I couldn't train more than one person at one time. But when I went private, okay, I'll do 2 sessions, but you guys are gonna pay, you guys don't have to pay as much, but still,
together
it adds up more.
And nobody's taking a piece of the action.
No one's taking a piece of the action, because when you think about it, when I'm training one-on-one, there's a lot of rest periods in between. During that rest period, I can train another dude at the same time, you know? And at one point, I would be doing like 4 or 5 people at one time. During boot camp, it's like 20 plus people at one time. So you do the math that way, you know?
So you were always a hustler then, huh?
Always a hustler, you know?
Did your situation at home kind of motivate you or intensify it? Because I know like growing up, it wasn't so easy. What was your home situation like, and how do you think that like motivated your drive or desire?
I grew up with my brother and then a single mom. My dad was always there though. I would see him like every other weekend, but obviously mainly living with my mom, she didn't have much, so she was always at work. You know, she'd give me like, you know, a couple bucks here and there every day for whatever the fuck I needed. But in order to like have more in the freedom, I wanted to live on my own when I was like, you know, in college. Like I had to fucking bust my ass off. My mom wasn't gonna help me. My dad wasn't gonna help me. So that shit just pushed me, you know? And then just, you know, I love fucking like watching movies and just like looking up nice shit.
Getting inspired.
Getting inspired, and I'm like, fuck, man, why the fuck can I have that shit, you know? Or, so I guess it just lit a fucking fire under my ass and made me work twice as hard. But it was like finding that one thing. Like at that time it was personal training. I'm like, fuck, dude, I went from Bally's making a good living to making a fucking killing going private. I'm like, all right, let me scale the shit out of this business, you know? And that's what I was doing, so.
Now, I want to ask, do you think that your mom's hustle, because I know you said, I heard another interview where you were saying that she would work like almost 5-6 days a week. Do you think that like seeing that hustle made you want to like take care of her? Was there anything like that? Because I know you also mentioned that a couple years back, 1 or 2 years ago, you were able to retire your mom. What does that feel like to retire your mom, man?
Dude, it was great, you know? When I was young, I didn't get the concept yet. I just, when I was young, it was like, okay, she's always going to work, you know, until later when I started paying my own bills and shit like that. And I was like, fuck, man, she's been doing this shit, but not just for
years.
herself, but
Yeah.
for 2 other knuckleheads, me and my brother, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Always
yeah.
asking for shit too on top of that. I'm
while
like,
dealing
fuck,
with dealing with whatever you guys were up to or whatever,
Yeah.
her own personal life on top of that. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was kind of like a mission and a fucking like I have to, I have to fucking do this. So then, yeah.
You know, it's interesting you say that because a lot of people we interview, obviously, they've done very well in business. They say that the difference between people that end up achieving versus those who just dream and leave it a dream is that they make their goals a must, not a should or not a preference. Do you find that with a lot of, not just entrepreneurs, but even employees or even people just coming up in this generation, that the difference is really that it's just, they're kind of casual about it? I mean, what do you think is the biggest difference between achievers that get it versus those that just dream and hope and wish and try,
I think it's people like us that never had it, and it would just, you see it and you're like, fuck, dude, you have to realize if you don't do something, you're gonna fucking stay here forever. Your kids are gonna stay in this shit forever. Your family's gonna stay in this shit forever,
Yeah.
So versus someone it's not like it's not urgent, I guess, Like for me, it was fuck, dude.
Like I gotta do this now. I gotta be working on it now.
Yeah, I gotta do this shit now because,
Yeah.
I want to be the first one too in my family to fucking, obviously I had to show them like, let me not finish school and like this, I had something good going,
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think for guys like us, it's just more urgent. We didn't have another fucking choice because what am I gonna lose, I have nothing to fall back on.
Yeah.
I have fucking plan A and that's it.
Yeah, and that's a good point because I know a lot of people that grow up in the middle class or even the higher class, a lot of times they don't have the drive because they grew up with, a car and a income or,
They get
allowance or it's just easy. So there's no reason to intensify the fire. But I love what you're saying about urgency and intensity. That if it's going to happen, it's up to me. Now, how did you break the news to your mom that you weren't going to continue with college and you were going to focus on what you were doing, with the physical training?
How did I do it?
Yeah, was she? Because I'm sure that was important to her, right?
Yeah, it was a battle for actually a few years. Because I told her, there was a point where I was like, okay, well, I'm not knocking college, but I'm gonna tell you what the fuck I did.
Yeah.
In my last few years of college, I just didn't give a fuck, dude. I was already making a killing. I'm sitting around class, not to put the kids around me, but I'm like, dude, you guys don't even know what the fuck you guys are doing, dude.
Yeah.
They were asking dumbass questions in class. I'm like, dude, what the fuck, Asking these shit that does not matter in real life. I was living practical shit, doing stuff in their industry. Like, no, dude, So it was just this battle of constantly trying to convince my parents, my clients too at the time. You're talking about professional clients.
Yeah.
Like, no, Randall, you got to stay in school. I'm like, nah, dude, I got this shit. I think
Yeah.
But there was nobody, reinforcing it because I didn't know other entrepreneurs at that time.
Right, yeah.
I was living this shit, I was too busy focusing on my stuff, but I just had to convince everyone around me until I was like, just take the leap of faith and was like, you know what? School will always be here.
Right.
They'll have my academic fucking resume, whatever the fuck, my grades.
Yeah.
Although it was declining towards the
rapidly,
end.
yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, what? Fuck this, dude. Oh no, I left this out, actually. The reason why I left was because they wanted some bullshit internship hours.
Yeah, I remember
Check this shit out, dude. They wanted 1,000. This is Cal State Long Beach, so this is how fucking stupid it is. I love Cal State Long Beach, but you guys are gonna get some fucking shit for this.
Yeah, my dad actually went there, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he feels the same way, don't worry.
Okay, yeah. So in the kinesiology department, check this shit out. They wanted you to do 1,000 hours of internship hours, okay? 500 corporate, 500 traditional. I've been working at Bally Total Fitness for, I'd say 5-6 years. I had over 2,000 fucking traditional hours. They didn't let that shit override. They wanted 500 corporate. And I was like, what the fuck is this corporate hour internship entail of? Oh, you got to go to Boeing, swipe cards and clean machines. I was like, fuck you guys, dude. You guys want me to do this shit while I'm fucking already making a killing and doing what?
You're in it already.
I'm in it.
Yeah.
They didn't believe me, all this shit, and they just like denied I tried to get like an honorary degree.
Yeah.
They just denied it. They didn't believe, So I was like, no, fuck this, I'm out. I can't do this shit. I'm not gonna fucking step back, take 8 hours a day for I don't know how long, 500 fucking hours to clean cards and greet people. I'm like, no, I'm already way ahead of this,
How long were you in college before you dropped out?
6 years, dude. I only had 4 units left.
Oh, so you were like right at the tail end
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
just that internship hours. That's the one thing. So I was like, give me the, you know?
So you were like right there,
I was right there. So I was like, no, this is bullshit, dude.
Damn.
It's a fucking scam.
Yeah. So then it's all good. So then right when you drop out, you're like, oh man, now I got it. Now it's really urgent, right? Because now you got to prove it.
No, you know what? When I dropped out, because I was already killing, like I said, my time I was leveraging time, so I was cool, you know?
Yeah.
I actually had time to go to class, but when I dropped out, it was just a huge cloud lifted off my shoulders. I was like, fuck, I don't have to worry about nothing. I'm fucking free.
I'm free.
Now I could focus 110% on my business now, you know? And then fuck, dude, once I left, fucking my personal training business skyrocketed even more, dude.
Do you remember that moment where you left school, where you signed the final paper and you were like walking home or driving home?
I didn't even sign shit, dude. I was on there. It was like 7-something in the morning. I went there for a test.
Yeah.
In one of my kinesiology classes, and I was like, fucking just stood up, shut my laptop, and I was like talking to one of my professors, one of the cool ones, Ayla.
Yeah.
I was like, Ayla, I don't think I'm gonna come back, because me and her had been talking. She was one of the coolest, cool professors. She wasn't like high up there like that, not till now, but. And she's like, she understood.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's like, well, we'll always be here.
Yeah,
you know, and I just fucking walked out that morning, dude.
Wow. What did that walk feel like, home? Just liberating.
Dope, dude. That shit was tight.
Yeah. So then you go back and then you focus on the business and then that starts to skyrocket?
Yeah.
And then how does that evolve into little by little turning into where we're at now at LiveFit?
Yeah. So once I started focusing more on my personal training business, I could focus on the brand that it was creating, which was the RP Fitness brand at the time. And my slogan was Live Fit. Okay, so that's kind of like where it stemmed off of. But I started making more designs and marketing more of my personal training business. I had more time to put back into the business. So I started making designs and t-shirts for my clients. Okay, so once we started doing that, they started wearing the clothes. We started making videos of us like training, just having a fucking good time.
So were you selling those shirts in the beginning, or you were just giving them to clients?
No, I was selling them at first, to the clients, you know, or it would be part of a closing deal, like, hey, sign up for 8 sessions, get a fucking free t-shirt,
Gotcha,
you know?
Yeah.
So
leverage.
Yeah. So pretty much everyone got a shirt, you know, and then we would make videos, testimonials, I fucking make ads and stuff like that. And then as a designer, you know, people liked what I was designing. Yeah. So I would get hit up on Facebook as well, like, hey, Randall, I know I don't train with you, but is there a way I can get that shirt?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, yeah, dude, you know, $20.
Yeah.
All right, cool, meet me here. Fucking drive over there, pop the trunk. All right, $20, boom. Yeah. And then that shit just went fucking
So it just
viral.
kept happening.
Yeah. It was just,
wow.
Yeah, and at the time it was only Facebook, you know?
Yeah, and do you remember when the light bulb went off in your head and you're like, maybe I got a brand on my hands here. Do you remember that?
Yeah, when I started making, so my first initial design, which was Team RP, and it said like Long Beach, California, Live Fit in the front. And then I was like, all right, let me make another design, another color. That's just my creativeness that was in me. Fucking did it. The same people wanted to buy that shirt as well. I was like, oh, that's tight. And then newer faces started, you know, seeing it as well.
Up. Yeah.
And I was like, next thing you know, I had fucking 4 different designs, 2 different colorways each, a pair of shorts, a zip up. I was like, damn, I have a fucking clothing line.
Yeah.
But I had to jump on that management of knowing how to manage a clothing brand right away. Right. And I knew that because now, this is crazy because we backtrack in high school, one of my buddy, Mark Atkins, he blew up one of the fucking biggest brands that were out there at the time. I can't say the name, but if you know him now, he owns Rusty Butcher, or fucking another brand that is killing it. But I seen him take a brand from the garage to millions. It was all over Tilly's, all over fucking Zoomies, No Fear. It was, you know, he went huge, and that was in high school. Yeah. You know.
How old was he at that time when he built it?
14, 15.
Oh, so he built it that young?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and I was helping him too as well.
So you got like firsthand, you knew the kind of nuances, what to anticipate. Yeah.
Oh, so where to get the blanks, tees, where to get it silk screen.
How much it should cost.
How much should it
margins,
cost. Margins, exactly. Wholesale to everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know.
And I think that speaks to a lot of people, because a lot of times in life, if you don't seize opportunities, even if you kind of don't know what the hell you're doing coming up, you don't know how that can fill in later, or somehow that, you know, that will serve you later, you know, in a huge way. Okay, so then the shirts start selling really well. At what point do you make it official and then you go, okay, I'm gonna go all in this? Or where do you transition from personal training to like, this is a brand? Where was that moment? Where was that transition?
I don't know the exact moment, but I remember scaling the brand and creating a lot of designs, and then still training and packing orders, doing customer service, doing all that
You're
shit.
doing it all
you know?
yourself.
Yeah, doing it all myself.
Yeah.
So then I was like, fuck, okay. You know, it's good because I'm making money when I'm sleeping. Because it's all e-commerce. Once I started putting this stuff online, it came to a point where the physical, like I couldn't do it physically anymore as far as sending out these tracking numbers, sending shit out by mail. Like, fuck, it's taking a lot of time.
Yeah, customer service, emails,
Yeah, but I had to wait because the income from my PT was so good, and now this was fucking catching up until it was just way up here, and I'm like, all right, I had to talk to all my clients. You know, I'm like, hey, they knew this was my dream. You know, I've always wanted to have a clothing brand, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I finally got one because I've had a lot of clothing brands prior to a lot of streetwear brands that didn't pop off. So they knew like, hey, this is something good for me that, you know, because we talk a lot, me and my clients. I'm like, dude, you should take it, do it. You know, if it's going, so I gave my clients to my other trainers that worked under me at the time. That's how much I built my business. The two trainers, Jandar and T, they train some of my clients now today, gave it to them so they were taken care of, and then I went fully on with the Lift Fit business and fucking created it into a brand and just scaled the shit out of it, dude. Marketed it, fucking got a whole team going, like a team of athletes, then started hiring people.
So you were on a mission as soon as it started to make it happen, right? Like, because one thing that's really interesting is like, you know, in interviewing a lot of people that have, you know, built big brands versus people who are, you know, building brands that maybe don't make it, quote unquote, is that I find that a lot of times it comes down to the mindset of the entrepreneur more so than the idea.
Yeah.
You know, because as a leader, you figure it out, you do whatever it takes. You don't assume that it's up to the market what they like or don't like. You just adapt to what's working, do more of that. If it doesn't work, you're just resilient.
Yep.
How important do you feel passion is in being a prereq to actually have that kind of fire?
It's super important. You know, a lot of guys get stumped because, they want to fucking create a brand. Yeah, they can fucking create great designs, but when it comes to the business side, one failure, they're fucking done. Like, oh shit, that shit scared them, you know?
Yeah. Maybe I wasn't meant for this.
Yeah, maybe I was like, you know, and no one can teach you to be a business person because that shit's always fucking changing. You always just have to, like you said, adapt. You know, so that was one characteristic that I had, which just, I was so fucking passionate about this, I would figure it out, you know? The creativity would always be there. But in the business world, that shit's gonna fucking punch you in the face, dude. You're gonna have to fucking get back up and keep going. And that's what I was doing, you know?
Yeah.
Even little progress, I was addicted to that shit. So I wanted to see a little bit more than, yeah.
What do you think one of the biggest differences is between entrepreneurs that end up making it versus those that just kind of, you know, say, you know, maybe I'm not cut out for this, or maybe I wasn't meant for this, or just give up or change their idea? You know, you see a lot of that. What do you think is the difference between people who end up making it versus people who just kind of get stuck trying?
I think the difference is, like, with me, the people that are gonna make it, they know they're gonna make it. Like I just fucking knew, you know? Like, if I was gonna make it, I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna die trying, you know? And no one's gonna fucking, you can't take that shit off of somebody that knows this motherfucker's gonna win already. You know, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So you figure out the fucking game, you play it, and you just play until you fucking win.
Were you holding the image of your mind, like, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna drive this car, I'm gonna have these things, I'm gonna build a big brand? Like, was that, like, what was in your mind? Like, what was the intense thought that would fuel you to wake up early, stay up late? Like, what were the thoughts flowing through you at that time?
Because like I said, everything I dug my hands into, I wanted to be great at it. And with that whole personal training business, I was set, like I said, I'm gonna give 110% and use obviously materialistic things as fucking goals, as shitty as it sounds. You know, people just don't understand how much of a motivation it can have on you. And obviously with, let's say I wanted this fucking Lamborghini, I'm gonna work my ass off to get it, but what they don't realize is, I get that, but once you get to that level, it opens your doors to a whole nother fucking thing, you know?
Dimension,
Yeah, so whether it be personal training or scaling fucking Lift Fit Apparel, it was just like, dude, 110% all in, you know?
All in, all the way. Now, I know you were saying a little bit earlier too about how important it was at that time to kind of like focus in and hone in, and kind of sometimes it came at the expense of like hanging out with friends as often as you would have, or
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, any of that stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that phase of focus that you kind of went into and some of the sacrifices you had to make?
Yeah. I remember there was a cool 2 or 3 years. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna really focus on my business. You know, like this hanging out shit, going out, having fun. Like I got to sacrifice some of that stuff. So you spend a lot of time, you know, alone, being by yourself, really thinking it. You know that you're gonna fucking do this shit. And this is what we were talking about. Now I'm getting it. No matter how great your idea is or how much it's gonna work, and this is, I know you can relate with me.
Yeah.
When you say it out loud, no matter what, the person they're not gonna see it the way you fucking see it. So I didn't give a fuck about what anybody else thought. I didn't fucking say anything. They're like, what are you working on? I'm like, oh, that's cool. You guys go fucking do your thing. I got some shit to take care of. What is it? I don't need to tell you because you're just gonna knock me or whatever, you know? I don't fucking disappeared, hibernation mode. Where the fuck is Randall? I don't know, just with his clients building his shit. You'll see it on the internet.
Yeah, you'll hear about it one day.
Yeah, so that was the thing I was getting at. You know, it's like I kept a lot of things in here because it's just, history shows like, man, every time I fucking say something, they're like, nah, you know, or like, oh, that's cool. But in reality, they're like, this was crazy or some shit, you know? Like they didn't see it how I saw it.
Yeah, and you felt it too. You didn't just see it. You felt it at a deep level.
Yeah.
Now, at that time, were you into like Tony Robbins or personal development or learning from other entrepreneurs?
No, dude. I didn't know who the fuck anybody was, dude.
None of that.
I was this fucking kid on the street just like, man, I got to make this shit. You know, until now, I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, too. A real entrepreneur is living this shit, you know?
Right, yeah.
I mean, obviously, if I was growing up today, I would use the resources I have, like YouTube, look up all these other entrepreneurs. But as like a real one doing it, like, dude, I was so zoned in my shit. I didn't give a fuck about anybody else. You know, I didn't care. Like, I was just fucking tunnel vision on my own shit and make sure I was making progress.
Focus.
Yeah.
Now, how about in terms of recruiting a team? Because I'm sure you know that's one of the most important elements. You can't do it on your own. You can't be a solopreneur.
Yeah.
What was it like, and what have you learned about what it takes to recruit a good team?
Oh my
good people,
God.
hiring, firing. I mean,
dude,
what have you learned?
I've learned a lot of shit, and I learned a lot of motherfuckers can burn your ass, dude.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I've dealt with a ton of shit. This past 2017 was a rough one, dude. Like guys, people that have started with me from the beginning, turning their fucking backs, catching fucking stealing shit out of my office with the camera.
Wow.
Dude, it's fucking rough, dude. Yeah.
Really? People that were like friends or close?
People I thought was cool, you know? And it's crazy because like you really don't know what their intention is in the beginning, you know? And I learned this the hard way. You can only do so much, man.
Right.
We do full fucking healthcare here, dental, eye, vision, all that shit, you know?
Wow.
I'm the most lenient dude. I'll give you time off, this and that. But now I learn, man, we got to keep the shit by the book because, like I said, there's a couple of people turn their backs and just try to use whatever they can against you, you know? Once it's like, you got to just make sure, obviously, like I said, things are by the books and whatnot, and then do everything you need to do through HR and all that stuff. But now it's like you want to hire people that you can hang out with and stuff at the same time, but then now you want to hire professionalism, you know?
Right.
And that's what history has taught me, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it's been rough, but you want people that you can teach, obviously, and then people that fit in that in the culture. In your culture, you know? So,
how about in terms of branding? Because I know LiftFit, a big part of how LiftFit blew up is that a lot of influencers started wearing the brand. I mean, can you talk a little bit about how important networking was and how important getting in touch with influencers were and how integral it was to building the LiftFit brand to see these big names, you know, back in the mission you guys were on with LiftFit?
Yeah, it's super important. I remember, like I said, when I started to create LiftFit Apparel, like when it first started off as the clothing brand, one of my first thought was, I need a fucking team, you know, and that came from skateboarding because all the skate brands had skate teams, you know? So I was like, hey, we need a team, you know, but what industry am I in right now? At the time was bodybuilding, you know, IFBB and all that. So I reached out to this guy, Torrey Woodworth, which is one of the first IFBB pros to hit the Olympia stage and shit. And I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so I was like, hey, dude, you know, we could sponsor you, you know, here's some gear, blah, blah, blah. And he was down for it. He liked the clothes, and he repped it everywhere, and we started promoting it. You
just reached out to him, or you had already had a relationship with him?
I just reached out to him, man. I was like, fuck, I was scared.
You just emailed him or DM'd him or what?
I knew his coach.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Omar Ventura, and I had him put in a word, you know? And then Tori's just super respectful dude. I'm still cool with him now, you know?
Yeah.
He's got his own business going on. It's cool to see him grow.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like helped us, you know, put LiftFit on the map too as well. Just competing on the pro level, you know? So, but yeah, building a team right off the bat, I think was what got us so far ahead of the game, you know? No one had like a solid team, especially in our industry. And then when I did add people on, it wasn't like a lot of people, you know, we're just shoving fucking clothes everywhere. No, our team was always small and tight niche, you know?
Yeah, one at a time.
One at a time, and we had like, and at the max, you know, of like top tier athletes, you know?
And then in terms of sales, at what point did it get to the point where you're like, oh shit, this is really like blowing up? Do you remember the phase? Because I'm sure it was gradual, but do you remember if there was any explosions in the business or bumps where you're like, oh shit, this is really happening, this is really taking off? You remember what that was like? Maybe the first time you saw people wearing it out that you didn't know, or you know, what were those times like?
I think it was like obviously the second year when I was a little bit more experienced about the like cut and sew and manufacturing side. I remember we had a couple of fucking like big freights coming in, and I was like, fuck, dude, we have nowhere to put this shit, you know?
Yeah.
But that really pushed us to get a new, bigger warehouse. And then once that inventory came in, that shit just, we put it up online and it moved. And that was like one of the big things. Like we always sold out all our shit, you know? We never sat on anything. Yeah. So we knew, I'm just gonna pour a lot of money right now, because like I said, history, like just the track record, everything we put out, sold out. So I was like, fuck it, let me pour a lot of money in this inventory, all this shit coming in from fucking overseas.
Yeah.
Sure enough, when it came in, I had to get a new warehouse to stock it, but it didn't sit for too long. It fucking sold.
And it also puts a little bit of pressure on you to have to sell, right? Because you're like, man, I don't want to get stuck with all this inventory.
Yep. So we just market the samples we had prior, started fucking doing major campaigns, building up the fucking hype, and the drop date, letting the people know when it was gonna drop. So then at that point, when we were like, at this time, you know, people were fucking literally by the computers, boom, and fucking, you know, we like broke tons of records of what we've done prior, you know, just hitting this whole new SKU section of like custom like board shorts and shit like that, you know, not just like tees.
Yeah, I know we always try to get the joggers and they always sell out.
Yeah, dude.
But I want to ask too, at what point did you start going international? Because I know now you guys are like in other countries and stuff like that, right? How many countries you guys in, and what's business been like expanding it there? Has it been a new learning lesson? Is it just an extension of what you already know? What's it like been going international?
I mean, we've been in international almost since we started, actually, just in smaller retail stores. But now we're obviously in a broader spectrum of like different countries. We house everything here. We don't have a distribution on the East Coast nor in Europe.
So it's all here.
Yeah, we are the hub.
Wow.
I was gonna start one in Europe, but it's just so different, the laws and things like that.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stick with the e-commerce here, and if you guys want to wholesale, just buy wholesale from us, and that's it. And that's how high the demand was. They would just pay the fucking custom taxes for whatever, you know, because it's gonna move. You know, I was like, this is our track record.
And it simplifies the process on your guys' end too.
Exactly, because man, like South Africa is a bitch right now. It's like they hate Americans or something. I don't know, the custom, every time we send something there, their custom guys like hold it and like fucking tear the box up and shit. It's fucked up, dude. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, well, how can you do that? And they can, you know? But yeah, I mean, obviously expanding stuff to overseas wasn't that hard, you know? We just treated it like it was another wholesale account around here, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then how big is the business now?
It's pretty big. Yeah, LiftFit is just, I don't even know how many fucking stores we're in now, but online we're crushing it still. I don't know, like, you want to compare it to last year's Black Friday or 2017 to 16, we beat it. We did over, I'd say like 11,000 orders in a weekend. In a weekend, yeah. It was, wow. I wanted to break 1 million in a day, but I was short. But we were close. You know?
What do they say? Aim for the moon, land amongst the stars, man.
But it's scaling like, it's still like climbing. Yeah, it's fucking wild, man. Yeah.
Now, what's your best advice to entrepreneurs out there that might hear your story? Maybe they're in their own struggle, or maybe they're not even entrepreneurs, but they're just trying to make their life work or figure shit out at any age, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. Knowing what you know now and kind of being on the other side of it, what would be your best advice, best insight to share with the world, like knowing what you know now?
I would say, whatever you're doing, let's say you got like a regular job or whatever, give 110%, you know, because that's going to get recognized by somebody, you know, and that's going to get you a lot further than anything else. No one's going to go far but just fucking doing what you're supposed to do or half-assing shit, you know? Like in my experience, if I was going to play in a band, I would fucking do 110%, try to, you know, be the best at that. Skateboarding, be the best at that. If you continue to be the best at what you're doing, it's gonna take you somewhere else. I fucking guarantee it, dude. There's no one, I have not met anyone that was like, that fucking didn't do what they were like, gave 110% and stayed there forever and just fucking like, you know what I mean?
Things didn't work out.
Didn't get rewarded for it, you know? Yeah, like
or they regret it, or they say, yeah, man, I gave 110%, I put all my passion into it, and you know, it wasn't worth it.
No.
You never hear that.
Never, you know? So, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, you know, it's just, and if they don't feel that way, it's because you didn't give 110%. I can fucking guarantee it, man. There's a lot of bullshitters out there.
Do you think passion's cultivated, or it's just natural? You either have it or you don't for certain things?
A little bit of both, man. You know, there's a lot of things that people are born with. I think it's like ambition and shit like that, and like the will to fucking just not give up, you know. And there's people that are just born fucking lazy, you know. And I don't know, man. I'm still struggling trying to figure that shit out too, you know, because obviously I'm like keeping awareness of who to hire and who to keep around me too, you know. So I don't know. I just try to instill that shit and passion and things like that, hard working, 110% into everyone around me, you know. But
also too, I want to ask, do you find that your intensity or motivation has kind of like evolved since now you you aim for the Lambo, you aim to have a big business, maybe you aim to hit certain financial goals or help or inspire this many people? Once you get there, you know, do you evolve the goals? Did you find like there was a period where maybe you got a little bit comfortable? I mean, what was that experience like, and how did you kind of get through that? Yeah,
I did get comfortable, you know, and you just have to, as a wise person, as an experienced person, not just a successful person, but to recognize that this stuff ain't forever too, you know. You have to be able to sustain it, you know. And that's where a lot of mistakes happen with people that get a lot of success fast. They fucking blow it, you know. And I was never that dude. I always fucking lived under my means, you know. Even now, you know, I can go fucking get fucking 10 more of these motherfuckers, but you know, I'm not gonna do that shit. You gotta be able to plan, you know. As an entrepreneur, you plan. Now you're trying to get security for your future as well, you know. What am I gonna do for retirement? Because we're entrepreneurs. 401k, you know, that shit don't even fucking work for us, you know.
It's all up to us.
Exactly. So now I'm using what I have now to really plan ahead and, you know, build my own security and yeah.
And then I do want to ask you this: how about in terms of some of the most challenging, just obstacles you face? What are some of the deepest challenges that were the most taxing? Maybe that you haven't shared before in interviews, like. What's been some of the deepest stuff that was hard to get through, and how did you get through it?
Fuck, man, there's a lot as far as like business-wise. They're here just learning the law and sometimes how crooked it can be.
The laws,
you know, of like trademark, of employee law, of suing and shit like that too, you know, because we've been in some cases where we're suing because we're right, but it's costing us way more money. And at the end of the day, the other party just says, okay, fuck you, I'll file bankruptcy, you go ahead and win, but I'm already down the whole like 80 grand, you know? There's gotta be a way.
There's like nuances to cut your losses, and you don't know that going into it because you never experienced any of that.
Exactly. And then what else is there? The tax laws and shit, holy fuck, dude, California, dude, we're getting raped, you know? I didn't know that. You know, going into it, like you want to hear something crazy? Every dollar I make, I only get like 49 cents. That's it. I get half, or less than half.
Damn.
Yeah. So you talk about, you know, like, oh, this was going to do this, buy this. Like, dude, there's a reason, you know.
No, I totally get.
Like, I got to work twice as hard now.
Just to make
crazy
what you deserve, or what you've earned,
But yeah, and then there's just like little fucking bumps here and there, you know, but. I don't know, at the end of the day, now I feel just like I can, experiencing all these, this shit, it's like, these problems just become minor and minor though. It's just another stepping stone. Like, all right, let's just deal with this shit now. Let's not dwell on it, you know?
Yeah. You just anticipate things are gonna go wrong. Let's solve it. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what part of being an entrepreneur is too.
Yeah, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs, you get sort of numb to it in a sense because you expect another crazy thing, another thing you didn't anticipate, you know?
Yeah.
So you kind of just learn to keep as cool as you can and just work towards solutions, and that's all you can ever do anyway.
Yeah, me and my guys, it's funny we say that. When things are running smooth, really smooth, we're like, fuck's going on, you know? This shit's weird, dude.
Something's around the corner.
Something's up, man. What the fuck, dude? We start checking shit. We're like, damn, this shit's actually going smooth, you know? It's surprising to us because there's always shit that's gonna pop up and fuck your day up.
Yeah.
You gotta learn how to rebound from that shit or you know, how to deal with it.
Yeah.
That's like the important part, how you deal with that shit.
Now, I also want to play a game with you. At the end of every interview, we always play a game called First Things First.
Okay.
So the way that it works is that I'm going to say 10 words or phrases, and then you tell me the first word or phrase that comes to mind. So I say one, and then you tell me the first word or phrase that comes to mind, and then back and forth like that for 10. Make sense?
Okay.
All right, cool. So the first word is live fit.
Brand.
Your past.
Harsh.
Your present.
Good.
Your relationship.
Healthy.
Your fears.
None.
Your ambition.
Always.
Your future.
Fortunate. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Passion.
Entrepreneur.
And then last one, you ready? Dreams.
For real.
Damn, I love that. That's a wrap. Thanks for making your dreams real. That's a wrap. Thanks for being on the show today, Randall. You guys can be sure to check out the full episode on iTunes by clicking the link below. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Until then, live strong, live with passion, and go make those dreams happen. See you guys next time. If you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to hit that subscribe button right now because every week we bring you the very best in personal development content from some of the greatest minds on the planet. Thank you for being one of the passionate few.